Picture this. It is a random Saturday morning, and you're scrolling through Zillow or Redfin the way most people scroll through Instagram. Not because you are seriously buying, just because you are curious, just because everyone around you seems to be talking about it. Your coworker just closed on a house. Your cousin keeps posting renovation photos. Your parents call every few months and ask the same question. So when are you going to stop throwing money away on rent? And suddenly you start wondering, wait, am I doing this wrong? Am I actually falling behind? Is renting really just burning money every single month while homeowners build something real? Because that is what everyone says. That is the conventional wisdom. Renting is wasting money and buying is building wealth. And for decades that advice made sense. But here is the thing. We are not in the same market our parents bought into. We are in 2026. Mortgage rates are sitting at levels that would have made a 1990s banker nervous. Home prices have not corrected the way everyone predicted they would. And 36% of Americans are right now actively stressed about housing costs. So before you sign anything, before you drain your savings for a down payment, before you lock yourself into a 30-year decision based on advice that was written for a completely different economic era, you need to hear the actual math, not the emotional version, not the you are throwing money away version, the real numbers version, because the answer might genuinely surprise you. If you are someone trying to figure out whether renting or buying actually makes more financial sense right now, hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, because today we are going to settle this properly. Let us start with the biggest myth in personal finance. Renting is throwing money away. You have heard this your entire life. Your landlord is getting rich off you. You are paying someone else's mortgage. Every rent check is money gone forever. And look, emotionally that feels true, but financially it is one of the most misleading things you can tell someone in 2026. Here is why. When you rent, yes, you pay for housing and you do not build equity. But when you buy, you do not just pay for housing either. You pay interest, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, HOA fees in many cases, and you lose the opportunity cost of your down payment sitting in a house instead of growing somewhere else. Let us look at the real math right now. The median home price in America in 2026 is sitting around $420,000. If you put 20% down, which is the responsible standard, that is $84,000 out of your pocket on day one. Your remaining loan is $336,000. At current mortgage rates hovering around 7%, your monthly principal and interest payment alone is approximately $2,236. Now add property taxes, average around $350 per month. Add homeowners insurance, around $150 per month. Add maintenance costs. The general rule is 1% of home value per year, so roughly $350 per month. Your real monthly housing cost is now $3,086 per month minimum before you touch a single upgrade or repair. And here is what most people do not calculate. Of that $2,236 mortgage payment in year one, only about $276 is going toward your actual principal. The rest, nearly $2,000 every single month, is going straight to the bank as interest. So for the first several years of homeownership, you are not building equity nearly as fast as you think. You are mostly paying interest, which sounds a lot like throwing money away, just to a bank instead of a landlord. Now let us look at the renter's side. The median rent for a comparable home in the same market is around $2,100 per month. That is nearly $1,000 less per month than the real cost of owning. So what happens if the renter takes that $1,000 difference every single month and invests it in a simple index fund earning the historical average of 8% annually? Over 10 years, that $1,000 per month becomes approximately $180,000, and that $84,000 down payment that the buyer put into the house. If the renter had invested that same $84,000 instead at 8% annually, after 10 years it becomes roughly $181,000. So the renter who never owned a single square foot of property, who kept getting told they were throwing money away, walks into year 11 with over $360,000 in liquid investable wealth. Now let us check on the homeowner after the same 10 years. Their home has hopefully appreciated. Historically, home prices have grown around 3 to 4% annually on average. At 4% appreciation, that $420,000 home is now worth roughly $621,000. They still owe around $290,000 on the mortgage, so their equity is approximately $331,000. On paper, that looks close. But But here is what the comparison misses. The homeowner spent 10 years paying an extra $1,000 per month compared to the renter. That is $120,000 in extra housing costs over the decade. Their equity did not appear out of nowhere. A massive chunk of it was funded by that extra monthly spend, and their $331,000 is not liquid. It is locked in the walls of a house. To access it, they need to sell or refinance. The renter's $360,000 is sitting in an index fund, accessible, liquid, and continuing to compound. And this is where it gets really interesting, because the conversation is not as simple as renting wins or buying wins. It depends entirely on three things: how long you stay, what the local market does, and what you do with the difference. Let us talk about the staying part first, because this is where most people make the most expensive mistake. Buying a home is not a short-term decision. It never was, but people keep treating it like one. Here is the truth. Due to closing costs, transaction fees, realtor commissions, and the interest-heavy early years of a mortgage, most financial experts agree you need to stay in a home for at least 5 to 7 years just to break even on the purchase. If you buy and sell in 3 years, you have almost certainly lost money when you factor in all the transaction costs. In 2026, with a mobile workforce, remote work opportunities, career pivots, relationship changes, the average American moves every 5 to 7 years anyway, which means a significant portion of buyers are buying at exactly the wrong time horizon for their actual life. Now let us talk about what the local market does, because this matters enormously. The 4% annual appreciation we used earlier is a national average. It absolutely does not apply everywhere. There are markets in 2026 where home values have softened, where supply is catching up, where the population is flat or declining, and in those markets appreciation might be closer to 1 or 2%, which completely changes the math and makes the renter's investment strategy dramatically more attractive. Conversely, there are markets, typically high-demand coastal cities and growing Sun Belt metros, where appreciation has historically outpaced the average, where renting is genuinely more expensive than owning, and where buying makes strong financial sense even in a high-rate environment. This is why anyone who gives you a blanket renting is better or buying is better answer without knowing your specific market is giving you useless advice. Now let us talk about the psychological side, because money is never just math. There is a real and legitimate reason people want to own homes that goes beyond pure financial optimization. Stability, roots, the ability to paint your walls without asking permission, the sense that this is yours. These things have value that does not show up in a spreadsheet, and anyone who dismisses those motivations is ignoring a real part of human decision-making. But here is the flip side of that psychological coin. The anxiety of homeownership is also real and also does not show up in the spreadsheet. The furnace that dies in February, the roof that needs replacing, the foundation crack that the home inspector missed, the neighborhood that changes, the property tax assessment that jumps 20% in a single year. Homeowners carry a weight that renters simply do not carry, and for some people that weight is genuinely life-altering. So if buying is not automatically winning and renting is not automatically losing, how do you actually decide? Here is the framework that actually works in 2026. Step 1. Calculate the price-to-rent ratio in your specific market. Take the median home price in your area and divide it by the annual rent for a comparable property. If the ratio is below 15, buying tends to make financial sense. If it is between 15 and 20, it is a gray zone that depends on your timeline and plans. If it is above 20, renting and investing the difference is almost certainly the better financial move. In many major American cities right now, that ratio is sitting between 25 and 35, which tells you everything you need to know about why so many financially smart people in expensive cities choose to rent and invest. Step 2. Be brutally honest about your timeline. Are you confident you will stay in this specific city, in this specific home, for at least 7 years? If you have any significant uncertainty about that, the math almost never works in buying's favor in a high-rate environment. Step 3. Calculate the real monthly cost of ownership versus renting in your market and actually compare them. Not the mortgage payment alone, the full number including taxes, insurance, and maintenance. Then ask yourself what you would do with the difference if you rented instead. If the answer is invest it consistently, renting might genuinely build more wealth. If the answer is spend it, homeownership acts as a forced savings mechanism, and that has genuine value. Step 4. Consider your down payment opportunity cost. Whatever cash you would put down on a house, ask yourself what that money could become in 10 years if invested instead. That number will often surprise you and reframe how you think about the decision. And step 5. Separate the financial decision from the identity decision. Buying a home because it is the responsible responsible adult thing to do because your parents expect it, because your friends are doing it, is not a financial strategy. It is social pressure wearing a financial costume. The most expensive purchase of your life deserves better reasoning than that. Here is the truth that most people eventually arrive at too late. Neither renting nor buying is automatically the wealth builder. The wealth builder is the gap between what you spend on housing and what you do with the rest. A renter who invests the difference will outperform a homeowner who overstretches every single time. A homeowner in the right market with the right timeline will build equity that a renter never touches. The actual question is not rent or buy. The question is, what is the smartest use of your housing dollar in your specific market at your specific life stage right now? And in 2026, with mortgage rates where they are and home prices where they are, the answer for more people than ever before is genuinely rent. Invest the difference and reassess when the math changes. Because the market will shift, rates will eventually move, prices will eventually adjust somewhere. And when that moment comes in your market, you want to be the person who has been investing for 5 years and has a real down payment ready, not the person who overstretched in 2026 and is now underwater on a mortgage they cannot afford to escape. If this video helped you see the rent versus buy decision differently, hit subscribe. And I want to know something specific. Right now in your city, are you renting and wondering if you are falling behind? Or are you a homeowner wondering if you made the right call? Drop it in the comments because your situation might be exactly what the next video covers.